free.
Stephanie has anxiety and it's really funny.
Hi.
Right? Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Lights. Hi, welcome to Lights, Camera. Wait, what's the name of this podcast? I'm Stephanie. That's Logan.
Hey.
That's Ben.
Hey.
And we have a special guest, and his name is Frank.
Wait, is what's the name of the podcast actually the name of the podcast?
Absolutely not.
Wait, okay, so what's the name of the podcast?
Lights, Camera. Wait, this is a podcast.
Oh, that's actually the name of the podcast.
That's the podcast name.
Okay.
Just a second here. You said here is Logan and here's Ben, and you pointed at us in real life.
Yeah.
It's
a rookie mistake.
They can't see you
They
pointing.
can't see you.
I talk with my hands. I talk with my hands.
See, like
I'm overruled by men. Please. Please stop. Please stop. I'm going to lose every argument.
part of the podcast magic is I could describe myself doing jumping jacks. I could easily be doing jumping jacks right now, but I'm actually not.
But
See,
you are doing jumping jacks.
movie magic.
Holy shit.
Oof.
I'm doing backflips.
No, you're not. You're not fooling anybody.
Backflip.
Wow. Quality sound effects.
Oof.
All right, Stephanie.
Hi. Ben, don't look at me that way.
For context, all three of us are currently staring directly at Stephanie.
It's making me freak out. Stop. Don't do it. Okay, men, guys.
Why is your default instinct to just say men over and over again? Feeling a little bit attacked over here.
It's my defense mechanism. Stop staring at me. Just give me a second.
You're talking.
Everyone cover your eyes.
Everyone
Thank
cover your
you.
eyes.
Thank you.
All right, I cover
Thank
my
you.
eyes.
So last
Then I do a
time-
backflip.
Oh.
Everyone take out your emergency sleeping masks.
Okay.
So last time Logan did improv. I suck at improv, so rather than that,
Wait. So you're directly admitting to the fact that we had a certain improv section rather than just going for it?
I'm pretty sure
To be
everybody
fair,
noticed it.
that improv session was not the best.
It was not good at all. It
For
was not good
context,
at
I
all.
have literally just came on, like I just got.
You
off
didn't
work,
listen to
so-
the other episode?
You never got. I never got a link sent to me. I'm it's completely new.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
Oh, also in that, they just did 2 backflips right there, so mark that for the record.
Oof.
Another 2. God damn, Ben. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Slow it down. Oh, my neck. No. Oh, boy.
Contrary to popular belief, this is a movie podcast.
All right, so rather than improv, I'm just going to give you guys questions I've heard in movies before, and then we'll go from there. And here's the question.
Wait, so
Nice.
are we addressing specific questions about movies? Or?
No,
Okay.
this is questions that have been in movies. Let me give you
Wait,
an
are we
example.
trying to
No.
finish the quote?
Have we?
No.
we haven't
Just
introduced
answer
our
it. Just
movies
answer
yet.
it.
No.
Okay,
I
watch,
get it,
watch,
I get
watch,
it.
watch,
Okay, right on.
watch. From the movie Hot Rod.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't
you-
get
yep,
it. Okay.
yep.
I got it.
Rod says, "Oh, right. I was gonna ask you who you would think would win in a fight, grilled cheese or a taco."
Grilled cheese, but if it's prison rules, taco.
That's pretty racist.
Grilled cheese all the way, and I can explain myself here. Grilled cheese is soft. Grilled cheese, you can punch a grilled cheese, and it'll still be a grilled cheese. If you punch a taco, it becomes dust. It becomes crumbs. It is no longer a taco.
You can
It is
punch
the
to a grilled cheese
yeah.
sandwich.
If you punch a taco against a table, it is no longer a taco. If you punch a grilled cheese, it is still a grilled cheese. If you throw a grilled cheese at a taco, that melted cheese is going to stick that grilled cheese together. It's going to stay together. It's going to stay a grilled cheese. That taco is gone. It's not a taco anymore. Grilled cheese wins every time.
See, I would point to contrary because with tacos, you could almost put any sort of meat in a taco. I'm talking like tongue, just gut. We really have all sorts of things in tacos. So my point is tacos might not be the most physically strongest, but, when's the last time you've ever seen meat lose to cheese?
When's the first time you've ever seen that?
You see a lot of things where I come from.
I mean, you can put meat in a grilled cheese.
Tracy, right?
Yeah, you see a lot of things in the kitchen, my man.
Yeah.
A lot of things. I've seen a lot of good sandwiches. A lot of good sandwiches go to waste. real sad stuff there, man.
All right. Anyways, okay. So the 2 movies we're reviewing.
Wait, it was only one question?
Yeah, it's only one
Oh,
question.
wow.
That was a whole
Wow.
segment.
I'll give you.
Wow,
I'll
yeah.
give you more questions as I host more podcasts.
Right
That's
on,
my
fair
thing.
enough.
All right, I like it.
All right.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
Thank you. Okay, so the 2 movies we're reviewing are Spirited Away and Pan's Labyrinth. I think we're going to start with Spirited Away, which is about a 10-year-old Chihiro and her parents come across an abandoned amusement park. After the parents are turned into you shut up. After the parents are turned into pigs, Chihiro meets the mysterious Haku, who explains that the park is a resort for supernatural beings who need a break.
Spoilers right there.
No, this is from Wikipedia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Thanks.
Entire plot was there?
Not really. No, it was gonna stop eventually. But anyways, the super.
All right, so are we gonna have a spoiler warning? Because we are going to go.
This whole
Spoilers
entire
for both of
your mics on,
podcast
Frank.
is a spoiler warning.
We recommend you watch the movies before listening to the podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a bit.
So anyway, her parents are turned into pigs. She meets Haku, and then he basically don't stare at me, Ben. Logan, Frank. Okay. Anyway, it's an amusement park. Filled with supernatural beings.
I thought it was a bathhouse.
No,
That one house
he
was
clearly says in
building.
the beginning that it's an abandoned amusement park.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
for the
spirits,
spirits.
Yeah, the spirits basically come to the amusement park just to have like a break from the real world.
From being spirits.
Yeah. And so then Chihiro has to work at the bathhouse to to basically save her parents and herself. That's it. That's basically it. Thank you.
That was it.
That was literally it. So anyway, who wants to start it off?
Well, I think you get to choose that as,
Okay.
as the host.
Well, first of all, I guessed rating.
Oh, ratings. Well, I'm going to give this one a 7.5.
Ooh, that's pretty good for a Logan scale. That's pretty good.
I gave it a 6.5.
Suck a dick.
Okay.
Ben.
Como se dice, suck my dick. What'd you rate it, Frank?
I give it a couple hands spilling gold out of it.
What is that in number
yeah,
form?
what is that in rating form?
What?
1 through 10. How
No,
good is
no,
it?
it's a couple of hands spilling gold out from their
Out of 10.
phantom membrane.
So is that
Okay.
really
Out of
good?
10.
Because it's gold?
Well, that's your interpretation. Because
But then in the movie, it was
'cause-
just dirt.
no, it was gold.
It became just dirt.
In the moment. In the
The
moment,
gold
it was
symbolizes greed, by
Yeah.
the way, so I don't know what that means.
Oh, oh right.
Symbol.
Yes,
I don't know what that
yes,
means.
consumers and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I take it back. It's one contract.
Ben, are you okay?
Yeah.
One contract to
Dying
work at
over
the
there.
bathhouse.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's,
What'd you
that's
say?
a good.
What'd you say?
good
It's a
number,
contract
right?
to work at a bathhouse out of 10.
Mm.
That doesn't sound good.
Well, considering she
I think
didn't
it
get
sounds
turned
good.
into an animal because of the contract.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he wants to work at that bathhouse is a lot.
Can we actually talk about like how fun it'd be to work at that bathhouse? Like,
No.
What do you mean?
It's kind of gross.
I'd be stressed
No,
out.
I mean, like all the interactions between the coworkers seem like pretty solid. Like I want, like
Sleeping in the same room and everything.
all of them hate humans, and all the spirits are kind of gross.
Yeah, but at the very end, like despite their hatred of humans, everyone was like, "Hey, Chihiro, like how you doing, Chihiro? Like Chihiro has some pretty good friends there, even though she was human."
Sen.
I mean,
Oh
yeah,
right,
yeah.
Sen. Sorry. I'm under Yubaba's embrace. Can't say my real name. Can we just talk about like the entire movie? The first 30 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm here for this. The first part where I was truly taken out of the entire movie was the part where you see the bird and the bird just has
the
the
old
old
lady.
lady's face on it, and you're just like, whoa, okay, right. I'm watching a fantasy movie, right? I forgot about that.
Yeah, that surprised me too.
But that's
I
like
was also-
commonly known in Ghibli films, like in Howl's Moving Castle. His face is in his bird body. I don't know. You have never seen a Ghibli film, Ben. So
Nope.
Oh,
I don't
this is
think-
your first sibling?
This is my first.
Oh,
This
okay.
was also my first that I remember. I think I've seen Howl's Moving Castle, but I was pretty young at the time.
Yeah, same here.
Which the animation is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good animation.
Yeah,
Visually
beautiful
pleasing.
animation.
There's like every now and then there'd be like a 3D part, And that
Yeah.
threw me off. I didn't like
it threw
that.
me off a little bit. Like there was one shot in particular I remember that was like of her feet while she was walking. That was like 3D animated.
I don't remember that.
And that kind of
They go
threw me
to,
off a little.
They go to what was the other sorceress's name?
Zaniba?
Zaniba. When they
Zaniba.
go to Zaniba's house and like it has that 3D zoom in, you're just like, oh right, yeah,
Yeah.
Like, "Ah!"
And she was like running through like bushes at one point,
Mm.
Oh yeah.
and it was really, it just felt weird.
Mm.
Yeah,
But it
no,
was good
that-
animation.
The
Yeah. 'Cause
I
entire
don't know-
movie's
no, 'cause
visually.
I don't know why
It
they had
is-
to switch to 3D.
Mm.
I thought it was, I don't know. You had something good going with the 2D.
Most of it was hand drawn actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. But
Yeah.
like when they would switch to 3D, it's like why?
And it's super enriched with detail and
Mm.
visually pleasing. Like it's
Mm.
just so great.
Yeah, the movie was stunning. It's honestly, it's a work of art. Just watching it,
Mm-hmm.
like without even judging it as a movie, just looking at it, just visually, it is very beautiful.
I think my problem was the first act was way too short, and you're kind of just thrown into it. And I'm just kind of like, what's happening? I felt
Respect
weird.
that.
I felt weird about it, like everything that was happening until she met the what was it? Obabi? What's the name?
Haku.
The
Dragon?
old lady.
Oh,
Oh,
wait.
Baba.
Yubaba.
Yeah.
Obama.
Obama.
Obama. Barack Obama.
Kind of imagine like Baba Yaga, but
Who?
like that, but switched around.
Barack Yubaba.
All right, Barack Obama and Joe Biden when she met the old lady and she started like explaining it. That's when I was like, okay, I'm a little into it.
We should probably also mention that these films are foreign. And
Yeah,
three-
you picked
yeah.
two foreign films for
Can-
us to
oh,
watch.
I was
Also-
under pressure.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was
under
watching.
pressure.
Can we
thanks.
just mention how both movies, like they're both foreign and they're both isekai? Like,
What?
like you mentioned both isekai.
Wait,
Isekai.
time out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So isekai, it's basically it's a genre in Japanese cinema where basically it means a different world. It's the entire premise of someone being transported to a different
Dang.
world, having an adventure there. But yeah, you recommended two foreign isekai movies.
I was under pressure, and those are the two movies that popped in my head.
Well, to be fair,
Good
though,
picks, though.
yeah,
Good picks.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
them.
Both like total classic young girl coming of age, fish out of water, total like hero's journey, classic style
Well,
films, which is not
I really can't
necessarily a
make the
bad thing. I
connection why
enjoyed
Stephanie
both
would
of
like
them.
these.
What?
I really can't make the connection why Stephanie would ever like something like this.
Yeah, girl, coming of age, being a fish out of water.
Are you trying to say I'm a fish out of water?
You're not a fish in water.
You're right.
Nice.
But I
Thank you.
like how this story was written with no plot. It was just drawn, and he lets the drawings guide him, which was really
makes-
interesting.
that makes
yeah,
sense.
That's
Hmm.
really interesting. What do you mean that means?
I got that.
That's just it.
It did kind of seem like almost like rambling, like the story wasn't thought out
Yeah.
Mhm.
from
One of
the beginning.
One of the notes I had was it felt like multiple TV episodes stitched together.
Oh.
I
A
can see
little
that.
bit. I can see
that.
that.
I can
I
see
can
that.
totally see that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, also, there's another fun fact. All the animation was actually done, and the voice lines were added afterwards because
Really?
he didn't want that. He didn't want that sort of like just like bad dubbing effect. So all the voices recorded afterwards to flow better with the animation.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
this particular film won an Academy Award for animation.
Yeah, it's actually one of the only hand-drawn movies to ever win an Oscar for
Yeah.
animation.
Wow.
And-
It's also the longest animation movie in like the Oscar category at 125 minutes.
2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first foreign animation to win an Academy Award.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Congrats.
It felt like it almost had a couple of different endings. I guess this is kind of piggybacking on what Ben said about how it feels like multiple episodes of a TV show stitched together. Is it felt like it was sort of reaching the end several times as the movie went on before it actually reached its real end.
I agree.
I can see that.
Mhm.
I suppose, yeah. I don't know. The first time I watched it was when I was like a little girl, so I didn't. No, I didn't really care for it much.
First time I watched it was a big boy. I'm a big boy right now.
You are.
Okay, Stephanie.
Yeah,
We're
but
just friends.
also this film, in Japan, it grossed higher than Titanic at the time.
Impressive.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
says a lot. It does. It
Well,
does.
I mean, like
It does, yeah.
this
It does.
movie actually like topped the charts at a lot of things. It's like the only like hand-drawn animation to win an Oscar. Like it topped the charts like in nearly like almost everywhere. It's defined as a classic. It's actually, if you look at the IMDb top like 200, it's like at 30 something, I think.
Yeah, which
it's
is
pretty high up
impressive.
there. Like this is definitely a classic.
Yeah, and it's number 2 in top animations.
Also,
Yeah.
can I just say how hard this movie was to find?
Oh yeah, my bad.
Oh my
Sorry.
God.
Yeah, apparently
boy.
They do not stream
Sorry.
Yeah,
like anywhere. I couldn't find it to stream anywhere.
Yeah,
well, we're
I was
just
just
straight
gonna-
out admitting
I found
that?
it online.
Okay.
yeah. I had to
My bad.
illegally stream it.
Yeah, that's what
Piracy
Sorry.
is wrong.
Sorry,
My
Trump.
bad. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, I was gonna.
FBI, listen to this man. Arrest Ben.
Yo, we're just trying to get more viewers, you know. FBI to listen to this.
Oh,
On
they
that
like
topic.
bad boys.
The amount of effort I had to put in at 5 a.m. to find the original Japanese version.
Oh, you watched the original?
Did you watch sub?
Japanese?
I
Sub
watched
or
the original
dub?
Japanese version with English
Okay.
sub because if I'm going to watch the movie, I want the original audio because
That's fair.
That's
That's
the way
fair.
the director intended
yeah,
it.
they told me that dub was fine for this one since it's an animation,
Mhm.
but I felt like I had problems with it.
See, like, I prefer sub because I prefer the original audio
Yeah.
with the original animation. Because
There were a few lines that felt off in the dub.
because you're not only adapting it for another language but also another culture.
Yeah. And as I've been in like a voice acting workshop,
Mhm.
and
Brag about it.
for for dubbing, you don't always say the exact lines.
Yeah,
You often have to edit the lines to fit the lips,
Yeah.
and how you say something is almost as important as what you're saying.
Mhm.
And so when you don't have that exact original interpretation of it, the original lines, you do lose a little bit, I think. And I
Yeah.
feel like the subtitles may have been just a little bit better. I did watch the dubbed version, but mostly because I was too lazy to go back to the main menu and change it.
Agreed.
But yeah, I found the last copy of this movie at my local Walmart. I went to like 3 different cities to try to find this movie, and then ended up finding it like a
Yeah.
mile down the road. Yeah, I checked Lodi, I checked Tracy,
I'm so sorry.
and then eventually I stopped by the Walmart in right here in my hometown, and I went, and it was right there. It was the last one. The case was all beat up and ripped, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is this is nice. It was next to about 8 copies of Princess Mononoke.
Well, to be fair, Princess Mononoke is also like a really
It's
good
great.
Ghibli film.
It's great, yeah. No, but I heard there was differences with the Japanese version, like names.
Oh yeah, they showed
Yeah,
them.
right? Yeah, yeah. No, because I heard Haku's name means something different.
Oh no,
Yeah,
literally
right?
like they short like
575.
in the Japanese version it's like 3 names, but in the dub version I've heard like they just keep it at Kohaku.
Yeah.
So like the literal translation is like in the Japanese version it means river spirit of the amber flowing river, but
Oh.
but then in the English version just river spirit. So he gets
Yeah.
downgraded from a god to a spirit in the English version,
Well,
which
doesn't that-
is pretty fun.
No, never mind. I was gonna say, doesn't that kind of give away the ending?
What you mean?
Where she was like, I've seen you before. You were an ocean.
Yeah, we're spoiler heavy territory,
Yeah,
man.
because
No, no, I'm
Yubaba
saying the
means
name
witch,
itself.
and
Oh.
it mean
No,
like
well, yeah.
all of them mean something.
And all of them mean something because, like, the thing about Japanese movies is each of the names, like, they're all like with. I think they're called kanji. Because
Like how you stared at me.
because you're the only other person who watches this.
I did.
Yeah. So I think they're called kanji. Like, feel free to like just correct me if I'm wrong.
Just roast them.
Just roast me, honestly. I am not at all cultured. But each of the different kanjis have different meanings separately, but together they form names. So Chihiro's name literally means the first symbol of her name means thousand, and the others mean, I think, in search of meaning, if I recall correctly. So that's why Yubaba, when she gives her name, she cuts it down to just sen, which the symbol for sen, it just means thousand. She literally reduces her to part of a number when she enters the workforce.
Oh,
Wow,
okay.
that's
That's good.
meaningful.
Yeah, that
And
is.
Somebody say metaphor?
but because we're here, we should just talk about the themes of the movie.
The themes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Which
mean,
there are.
The main
There
theme I picked up on was just going to a new town, being
Ooh.
scared.
I can't wait to teach you. We're
Um,
all gonna teach you
I-
today.
I
There's
saw-
so
That's
many
a
more
theme.
themes. There's
I
so
said that's
many
the one
more,
I
though.
picked up on. I'm not saying that's the one.
I
That's
think
it
I
is.
think the main theme of
God
this
damn.
was the dangers of overconsumption.
Yeah.
Sort of a commentary on
Yeah.
like almost the
Capitalism, too.
capitalist mindset. Yeah.
Did somebody
better
say
one.
post World War II Japan?
But if you also notice things, like not only do the parents turn into pigs, but the Boilerman's boiler is actually shaped like a pig.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Actually, I made
yeah,
note of that.
Yeah. Which is, I
Wait,
found
really?
really, yeah, no, it was
Oh,
great.
I did not
It's a
notice
nice, like, subtle touch. Yeah.
Hmm.
I thought that was
I was
great.
wondering if that was intentional. While we're on the Boilerman, I loved that character.
Yeah,
I loved,
actually.
He's so great.
I
that. Just
loved-
felt so wholesome.
He's so memorable.
Is that
Yeah.
it? Is that Dr. Eggman?
Yeah, Dr. Eggman.
Eggman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Drinking game. Whenever we burst out laughing, take a shot. I'm sure it's happened like 10 times already. So don't die of alcohol
I'm
poisoning
sorry
by
for
the
your
end of the
ears.
episode.
Oh, hell yeah.
Frank, I was reminded of you in the beginning in that
What?
driving scene through the forest.
Who would do such a thing? It's
What,
a
did-
4-wheel drive.
Did you
What-
drive through a forest dangerously fast?
If I had a 4-wheel drive.
Well, what do you have?
I know, probably two. Well, it's a truck, so probably has a 4-wheel drive. Never
would
mind,
hope
I
so.
probably would. Can we just talk about the father's physique for a second? That
Oh
man.
my God.
That man. Oh my. That man. I feel like, like, oh my God. Like he could
He's a
easily, like, if
cartoon,
he kept
Frank.
his human form, like, I bet he could wreck Haku, man. Like, did you see his muscles? How he was built? He could probably wreck Yubaba like one hit.
I'm in awe of the size of this lad.
Absolute unit.
Absolute unit.
I was
Agreed.
saying that these are not the actions of real functioning adults.
What?
Hmm?
Sorry, we just kind of cut.
Oh.
That was
I said-
really like
I
a
caught us
jump
off
right
guard.
there.
Sorry. Just,
Bad.
I say it like I see it, you know? I just said these are not these are not the actions of real functioning adults. I just found their actions weird.
Explain.
Just going into that place, finding a weird thing,
Oh,
walking
yeah.
into it. When they're
Honestly-
supposed to be
Okay.
moving?
The only thing that made it believable to me was when he smelled the food.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
and
you know,
he didn't want to
like,
wait.
Nothing gets between a hungry dad and his food.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's right.
And like when he said like don't worry, we'll pay when they arrive. I have monies and credit cards. And I was like, oh, this is a real father right
Yeah,
here.
this is a dad.
Mm,
Dad AF.
Yeah.
so daddy.
Oh, no.
we just included a modern day reference inside our podcast. Our podcast is now dated.
Gross.
Beautiful.
Warning everyone.
That saying is already dated.
What?
What, daddy?
No, AF.
I say it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because like that's the time now. If we listen to this podcast like a year later, we'll be like, oh wow, they said
Disgusting.
AF. Jesus. Wow, that's when I was young.
I judge people that say it now.
I don't say it in person.
Another shot, everyone.
I
Another
have
shot.
heard you say it in person.
It's probably ironic. You don't know.
Just like that moment of silence we all had. Oh, great. That was so
Ben's
great.
probably going to cut it out in the final.
You
No, I'll
better
keep
not.
that.
You
I'll
better
keep
not.
that.
No, you
Lengthen
better
the
not.
silence.
Just leave it for like a minute.
But I also like back to where we were.
Mm.
I really like the environmental themes that this movie had.
Oh yeah, the
Like the
entire
stink
first scene?
monster?
Yeah.
Oh, it looked so
Oh yeah,
disgusting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was legitimately grossed out when watching the stink monster. I was eating popcorn at the time. I had to stop eating it in that scene because I was so grossed out by it.
But the stink monster ended up being a river spirit.
Yeah.
And just knowing the symbolism with that is great.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
see?
I mean,
Oh,
together.
That's that's really good.
No, literally, it's a scene from I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. The director's. Does anyone want to help me with the director's name real fast?
I don't know.
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like something else, and I was like, I don't know what. You're
Oh yeah, no. At first
yeah.
I did too. Yeah.
No, Miyazaki. Like I was reading a few of his sayings about the movie, and like he said, like pulling a bicycle out of a river. That's something he actually did in his life.
Yeah. No, and also
That's kinda cool.
the Haku was a river spirit too.
Haku.
Yeah, and the fact that he didn't know his name, and then I think Chihiro mentions in the movie. Thanks for rubbing my knee. But she
Stephanie's
mentions
pants look like a picnic blanket.
They're all
because
checkerboard
I
like
am a
that.
snack boy. Ben laugh. Ben laugh. Ben
If Ben
laugh.
laughs, that's another shot right there. I'm keeping up the drinking game right now, just for all you folks at home.
But anyway, Chihiro mentions how the river that Haku was supposed to be was built, apartment complexes were built on it, and a reason he doesn't remember his name is because basically like humanity just like erased what he was. And I thought that was really interesting. I just like the environmental
Can we
things.
also talk about the scene where he remembers his name and he disappears? I literally thought Chihiro was going to die.
Yeah.
Because he just disappears. I'm like, oh my god, is she okay? She's just falling.
Oh man.
And then
okay.
Haku turns into his human form and they're just descending. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah.
So overwhelming.
All gone.
Okay, so what do you guys think about the world building around this movie?
Good.
Oh, yeah.
I felt it was a little enclosed.
Well, I think it was supposed to because it was an abandoned amusement park.
It all took place in one space, one place. But I don't think it did a very good job of sort of expanding past that. I couldn't see these spirits in the rest of the world. It seemed like this was the only place that they were.
I disagree with that because I feel like the part where, because most of the narrative was kept inside the bathhouse because, well, you know, it was everything. She was working there, but I feel the part where like they expanded that world building was the train scene.
That's fair.
But also,
that's fair.
Also, in the beginning scenes, when they're driving to the amusement park, you see like she sees these little houses and she goes, "They look like little houses." And then her mom was like, "Yeah, those are where like the spirits live and stuff." Like, I think that was like expanding it in a way.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it did well in world building. It did definitely make this sort of believable world, but I feel like it was just a little bit too enclosed.
Yeah, okay, that's
Like
fair.
it
I can agree with that.
Could have expanded a little bit more than it did.
Yeah.
I'm also
I'm still pretty like set on the train.
That's fair.
scene. I feel
I
like
respect that.
That got
No,
my,
that's
that
fair.
got my
I respect
fill.
that.
I got my fill of expansion.
And I'm also I deeply apologize for not picking movies with memorable music because
We
Yeah,
can't use
sorry.
our
I'm
kazoos.
sorry.
Kazoos are just collecting
they thought
dust
the
right
music
now.
wasn't memorable
Oh,
because they can't
I-
play their
it
kazoo.
wasn't.
It was.
I'm sorry.
It's good. It was a good
Okay,
score. No,
okay.
no.
Like,
It's
It was a really good score.
It's a good score. But
Yeah,
it's nothing
no,
that
good
we-
score, good
nothing,
music.
Nothing that we can kazoo.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing that's going to be like recognizable on kazoo. There's sort of that one in Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, which
that
I
one
still
tune that is repeated. But Spirited Away didn't really have a one solid memorable tune
Which, I
that
mean,
would
that's
be
not a-
recognizable
that's not a-
on kazoo.
Yeah,
'Cause,
it's
I
not a
mean-
bad thing for the
Yeah.
film itself, just for
No.
our kazoos. It's just
Yeah, it's just
I'm
an
sorry, I'm
inconvenience
sorry.
to us.
Yeah, yeah,
No, I
And
know,
it doesn't
I'm
take
sorry.
away from the movie at all.
I think it would actually add it to the movie because like all the scores sort of feel like in tune with the scene. Where,
Yeah.
where with most memorable tunes, they take you out saying, "Oh yeah, this is that one thing." But
Yeah.
with the score, it just sort of
Yeah.
melded in.
Although with
agree.
something like Jurassic Park, for example, there
Oh,
are
yeah.
several memorable songs in that I don't really feel like took me out of the movie at all.
Really? That's
No.
what you got a movie all the time.
It took you out of it?
Ooh.
Well,
No, that made me
okay.
feel like I was part of a bigger world.
Just
Oh,
like
God.
that part in spoilers for Jurassic which one was the most recent one? Not the World.
The Fallen Kingdom,
No, the one before that.
Jurassic
Jurassic
World.
Oh, okay. Jurassic World. Spoilers for Jurassic
that
World.
movie, then.
That part where like the T-Rex roars and it's like the whole theme is like, oh, this is really nice, but yeah, it was like, oh, this is really nice, but now I know I'm watching a Jurassic Park.
Well,
movie.
no, I'm talking about
That's
the
fair.
original.
Yeah, like
The
the
original's
original,
fantastic.
just like
With the-
Jurassic Park,
yeah.
just the
Oh
original
no, even in
movie.
the Jurassic Park movies, like whenever that theme comes on, it's like I get
have
out of the
no
world. It's like,
comment.
right, I'm watching a Jurassic Park movie. You know?
Mm. But that's not how it was when it was first released.
Well, yeah, but I mean, rewatching it.
It's because
fair.
it's such a
Yeah.
it's because it's such a great
Did
score.
this just turn into Jurassic?
Shut up.
No,
Yeah.
no,
we are taking
Ben, let
over
me
your
talk.
episode.
Let me talk.
Talk about Jurassic Park.
No.
I'm
Okay,
saying because it's
okay
such a
with
good
it.
score that it becomes associated with Jurassic Park in that way. It's not their fault that they made such a great score.
Yeah, same thing with like Star
who
Wars and
invited
Harry
this
Potter.
What was that, Logan?
So the same story with like Star Wars and Harry
Yeah.
Potter. Like
Yeah.
actually, each of those has each episode, like each movie has its own music. Like they don't really share music between
Oh,
them
really?
besides like the opening theme. But every single one you can hear and recognize as, oh my, yeah, that's a Harry Potter song. That's a Star Wars
Yeah.
song.
But a memorable score like that does not make or break a movie.
No,
Well,
it doesn't.
I'm not saying it detracts
Like if
anything
it's
from
just
the movie.
if it's just sitting in the background like Spirited Away, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
It-
the music definitely added to the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. Just nothing we can
I'm not
kazoo.
saying that a memorable score makes a movie inherently bad or like
Yeah,
being
yeah.
taken out of the movie is bad. All I'm saying is like it's recognizable, so it's like it's just in your brain you just recognize it.
That you're like, oh, I'm watching a movie.
Well, it's more of just like you're reminded that like this is a franchise thing.
Gold.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that first time watching it, ooh,
Yeah. Ooh. Chills.
yeah.
Chills.
So, I just want to comment on the food in this movie. Every single like food
Looks
item in this movie
delicious.
looks delicious. I wanted to eat all of it.
I know. Guys,
Ben looks like he has something to say.
Just say it. Just say it.
Guys, you want to go out for food, trying to find closest possible food
Yeah.
to the movie?
Yeah,
'Cause
actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of
yeah.
I want
Yeah,
those.
like-
I want those steamed buns.
I want the pork buns.
Oh, I was about to say,
Yeah, I want those
had
pork
one of those.
buns.
Like,
You
what
did.
you-
Yeah, because when I went to New York, no big deal. I went to New York. Get over it,
Oh.
guys.
I'm also
Disgusting.
going to mention something that
But they had some
probably
in there.
no. This is gonna like make you guys go off. But the baby,
The
the
best
baby,
gigantic
the
baby,
The best
best
character in the
baby.
world.
Best baby.
It was really weird.
Okay, wait. Baby versus turnip spirit. Who would win?
Baby.
Ooh, wait.
Baby.
Oh.
Baby. Turnip
Oh.
Spirit was so slow and stupid.
No, I
Baby
think the
was-
baby. The baby was
Remember, like
really
when she was
cute.
on like the elevator or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I think the baby.
Like
baby.
when Lynn was just was it
Mhm.
Lynn? Lynn?
Lynn? Who? Oh,
Who?
is it
No,
the
no.
other worker?
the other
right?
human.
The lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wasn't human.
Human,
was
because no,
She
no
looked
humans.
human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
No,
there's
she looked human, but
Wait,
she
there's
wasn't.
no humans.
no humans.
she's the only human.
I thought the other workers with Chihiro was also humans that got stuck in the spirit world.
No, they're
No,
all
that's
they're
why
spirits.
she was sleeping in the corner.
So what are they?
the spirits.
They're
Yeah,
the
they're
spirits.
spirits.
Oh, like
Spirits.
dead. They're dead people.
Probably.
Probably. Maybe.
R.I.P..
Who
Because like
knows?
the thing about Japanese folklore is like all spirits are not necessarily dead people.
They take the forms of people, though,
They take
so
the
that would
form
lead
of
me to
people.
believe that they.
But I
are.
mean, like, see, with you know, the rolling heads,
Mm.
those are actually a very popular figure in Japanese folklore.
I was wondering
Yeah.
about those because they seemed like they had something to them, but they
Yeah.
didn't really go much into it in the movie.
They're sort of like, you know how we kind of have like the boogeyman or like Bigfoot. It's
Mhm.
kind of like their version of Bigfoot, the rolling
Their
heads.
Bigfoot is the 3 rolling heads.
Well, it's well, yeah, because like rolling heads like if you watch some more movie like have you heard of Gantz?
Hmm?
Oh,
Guns?
Gantz. It's Gantz. Sorry, I'm showing my inner weeb right now.
Oh my God, you
But
weeaboo.
it's a
Such a
Netflix
weeb.
series. It's not that bad, but they have rolling heads in there because it's
Hmm.
it's sort of like the boogeyman for like the Japanese folklore because they have a lot of creatures like that.
That's
like,
interesting.
Like the kappa,
Hmm.
sort of like that.
Hmm.
Can I just comment on something? I really like the way that the train scene made everything feel in terms of like in terms of the workforce because like I really enjoyed the subplot about Chihiro working because it really just felt like she comes into the workforce and she makes friends and like you get all these nice little scenes about everyone working together at the job. It just makes you feel good about just the entire thing. It brings up this concept of just sort of like trivial things in fantasy worlds
Mm.
that I like really dig. In the train scene,
Mhm.
like you get all these spirits and it's like they're traveling through fantastical lands and all of them are just like going to work or something, and you're just like, wow, I feel oddly like at home. Like I feel like I could relate with these spirits. I probably like take the train or something to
Yeah.
go to my job. I used to take the
Spirit
train.
job.
But yeah.
I'd really like us to compare Ghibli films over any other like animation like company like Pixar or
Mm.
like
I think Pixar definitely works on their stories a little bit more.
I could see
That's
that.
what I was gonna say.
But I think they start with a plot. Ghibli
Yeah,
films
I mean, all
draw.
Pixar films can be broken down into the same basic plot because they stick very closely to a formula, like the hero's journey formula. And some movies even use the same versions of that, like Toy Story 2 and 3 have almost the exact same story. Incredibles 1 and 2 have almost the exact same
Yep.
story. but they are still engaging stories. And even without the animation, I feel like the stories themselves are solid. Like, you could be reading a book and it would still be a good story. With Spirited Away, I think it definitely makes a better movie than it does a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
definitely
can see
agree.
that. I can see that.
Yeah.
It's very much a movie where you don't really analyze it; you just sort of feel it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel it. That's a good word.
I felt it.
I felt this movie
yeah.
while I was watching it.
I'm much more, I think, more story than if it's just visually pleasing. Like, that's just me. Like Baby Driver.
See, I really enjoyed
Baby Driver.
I did too.
Is a
It's
really
an
enjoyable
incredible
film, but the story is
it's
lacking.
because of how it
Yes.
looks, not
Yeah.
because
And that's
of the
what
story.
stopped me from enjoying it that much. I
Yeah.
think that's what stopped me from enjoying
I
Spirited Away
agree.
so much.
That's fair.
This is
Okay.
the Baby Driver of animated films.
Jeez, you killed me with
No,
that
Baby
one.
Driver's a great movie, though.
Okay. Final thoughts, or do you guys have anything else to say?
I just want to say how smooth that animation was on
Ooh.
the Boiler
Ooh.
Man. Like, when the Boiler Man was moving around with all
Yeah.
6 of his arms at once, that just felt so natural.
His name was
And it
Kamaki, right?
I just referred to him as Eggman in my head.
Kajami. Pajama.
I just refer him
Pajamas.
to as
the,
Boiler
the
Man.
Pajama Man. I just, in my notes, I called him Mr. Robotnik. So.
So we're just not going to touch Snowface at all?
I wish
love
there was
him.
more No Face.
Honestly, yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it was lacking a little bit.
Oh, the spirit?
Oh,
Yeah,
question.
just the
Like,
fact that
yeah.
he just pours gold. That's
Yeah, he's
Symbolism.
an interesting character,
Mhm.
and I feel like there should have been a little bit more to him because I feel like we really don't get that
Yeah.
much of him. In this
Question.
movie.
What do they call him in the English dub?
No Face.
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked the noises he was making.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, he was so cute.
Oh.
I love him.
But then he would start talking, and I'm like,
Oh
what's
yeah,
that frog
another
thing?
another.
Well, it was the
tie-in-
voice of the frog guy that he ate, right?
Yeah, because after he ate the frog, then
Oh,
the frog started
another
talking. to him.
tie-in with Stephanie's point in overconsumption. Literally, No Face consumes everything and becomes a monster. And once he throws up all his unneeded consumption, he becomes. What does he? He finds true belonging after throwing away his overconsumption. Tying in with Stephanie's point.
So did
Boom.
I miss something with the River Spirit's gift? That the moss ball.
That was
that he
really
got?
weird.
What?
Yeah, because she just
was
assumed
that?
it was gonna make.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I'm
she
thinking
she
of
just sort
Pan's
of
Labyrinth,
assumed
sorry.
that it was
Medicine.
like medicine of some sort, and she just starts
Oh, no,
giving it to
yeah.
like everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking
I
of Pan's
think
Labyrinth,
it's
I don't know
something
what I'm
with
talking
Japanese culture about like I read about it. I've lost it.
It kind of reminded me of like Dungeons and Dragons. How like if you guys get like an item,
Squat.
you keep bringing up the item like, hey, does this help here? And it's like, no, it doesn't help
Yeah,
here. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, does this help here? And she just sort of kept bringing that out. And it's like maybe this will help here. And then it just happened to sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, and
I totally lost that thought.
and another point about what was it? About everyone trying to find their true names and culture and basically avoiding overconsumption and identity. Sounds a lot like allegory to post-World War II Japan, trying to stabilize their overly capitalist ways with the advent of America, while also trying to train true to their unique cultural identity.
Don't lose your name.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
Remember.
There's some good themes in this movie.
All right, final
Is that what they
ratings.
sound like in the dub?
Huh? No, it was
Oh,
Lion
okay.
King.
Oh, right.
Oh gosh. So final ratings. Are we sticking with it?
I'll change mine up to a 7.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
I'll keep
lower
that.
mine down to a 7.
Really?
What the fuck?
Hey, 7 bros.
Yeah.
I will.
Because looking back on it, I am realizing that the story was a little bit lacking.
Yeah, but
Okay, sure.
there are some themes I didn't pick up on my first
Doesn't
watch. That
doesn't
makes
mean
it better
it's
for me.
doesn't mean it's unenjoyable. I really
yeah, it was
I
enjoyable.
loved watching this movie. It's a very nice, fun movie to watch.
Maybe too
But-
long.
It was a tad long. I feel like
Yeah.
it could have been a little bit shorter.
Stop staring at me when you do that. You stare at me when you make those noises. Anyway.
Final rating, I give it. Sorry, the dog outside.
3 barks out of 10.
I give it 3 barks and realizing your parents aren't pigs in the pigs
4
in front
barks.
of you. 4 barks and realizing your parents aren't pigs in front of you out of 10.
I'm confused.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah?
The entire celebration scene, you know?
Yeah, that was
Oh,
very
okay,
good.
okay.
Yeah, that part was
Yeah.
was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I give it 1 out of 10.
Fun out of 10.
All right.
That's
No,
a respectable
good-
score.
Yeah, it's a good
Fun
one.
out of
There
10.
are
Oh,
quite
that's
a
so
few
cute.
movies I would
What do
give
you-
that score to.
Fun out of 10. Wait, what do you give it, Stephanie? Did you say it yet?
What's your
I've been
rating,
avoiding
Stephanie?
it because I don't know.
What's your rating?
I think
What's
I
your
don't
rating?
think I could rate this movie, but if I did have to, like I do right now, I'd probably give it like an 8, only because I just love this freaking movie.
Yeah.
It's my childhood.
That's fair.
I just can't. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Uh-huh,
really quick, did
mhm.
you? What was the point of like the mouse and the tiny bird?
Oh, when.
For shits and giggles.
No, wait.
No, 'cause
They were just sort of there.
Yeah, because it was the baby.
It,
that
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
the
the
baby
baby,
turned
and
into it.
Yubaba's familiar,
Yeah.
but why were they there though?
Wasn't that like supposed to be like character development for the baby? Like,
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
first
'cause-
greedy, and then like
But,
he
but what was
goes
the
to humble.
bird doing there though?
I don't know.
That was the protecting bird spirit. Because
Yeah.
he was
Yeah,
going
it
to
was
die if
Yubaba's
he was just a
familiar.
mouse, right?
I guess.
But yeah,
Maybe
there-
that
it was-
symbolizes a connection with the baby and Yubaba.
Yeah,
Who
that was.
knows?
There's that one
knows?
scene. There's that one scene when Gihiro went up to
Chihiro.
Chihiro.
Did you say
Chihiro
with
with
a G?
When Gihiro, the Greek
Gihiro.
sandwich, went up to
Whale.
Yubaba with the baby hamster that was a baby,
We'll keep
and
it
then
that
she
way.
was like, "You don't recognize him?" And she was like, "No," and then the hamster
The
got
baby
really
goes
sad.
so
Mm.
sad.
That was really sad, but at the same time, why would she recognize him?
Yeah.
He is not the baby he
Yeah.
was.
I give you a
The
cockroach.
sad-
Don't you recognize this?
Yeah, it's like,
No, gross. Turns
Oh,
into your
jeez.
dad.
Another shot, everyone. For those who are drinking at home.
Oh, God.
There's one shot in this movie I really enjoyed, and it was
Mhm.
when the train is going by and No Face just gets decked by the wind.
I don't remember that.
I cracked up laughing at that point for some reason. I couldn't
my
figure out
God.
why. I was just like, I just
No,
love
no,
that.
It's a
Just
really popular internet
internet
moving image.
meme.
Moving image. Yeah.
GIF. If you say anything different, you can fight me.
Hey, Logan, where's your door?
Frank, do you pronounce it GIF?
No.
Okay. Because if you did, I was gonna have to smear peanut butter on your face.
I'm allergic.
Nice.
Oh, hey
Even
Stephanie,
better.
how do you pronounce the moving image?
Shush.
Are we killing Stephanie today?
Yeah, we'll kill her.
Excuse me.
very pointed
Yes.
statements about the only female member of our cast.
G as in giraffic.
Girls be like,
Uh,
men be like,
shut the fuck up.
girls be on their phones and shit.
So
Yeah, get off your phone.
My
Stephanie.
notes are on my phone like everybody else's.
so a Pan's Labyrinth, everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
next movie.
Thank you.
Intro it, Stephanie. You're the host.
Yeah.
I was going to. Thank you.
You were welcome.
All right.
You're
So
welcome.
Pan's Labyrinth. It starts in 1944, and the Allies have invaded Nazi-held Europe. In Spain, a troop of soldiers are sent to remote forests to flush out the rebels. They are led by the Capitan, a murdering sadist.
It was part of the Spanish Civil War.
Did you say 44?
It said it's 44.
Spanish Civil War ended in 39.
Oh, well, it's
This movie
44.
sucks.
All right, but it's
Did the Spanish
I have
Civil
no
War end
idea.
in 39?
I'm gonna search it up real fast.
Hmm,
Be right
yeah.
back.
I have no
Alright.
idea.
So anyway, it starts with the Capitan,
Capitan.
and it's him and his new wife Carmen and her daughter from a previous marriage. Thanks, words. Ophelia, and then Ophelia witnesses her stepfather's sadistic brutality and is drawn into Pan's Labyrinth, a magical world of mythical beings. All right, boys, ratings.
Logan, go first, please.
Oh yeah, it does say in
Just
1944.
fucking just roast it.
Wait,
already.
when did it
Thanks.
end?
5 years after the Spanish Civil War, during the early Franquist period.
Mhm.
You know, because
Hmm.
they installed a fascist regime after the takeover of Spain.
Shrugs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
know.
history
Shrugs.
overlay with this movie. Like the amount of allegorical content is on par with
Say
Animal
Al Gore?
Farm.
Okay, anyway.
Okay.
Same.
Right. So it's on par with Animal Farm because just the amount of history that overlay. Like this is honestly like half parts historical drama, half parts fantasy adventure. I want to say.
It
Yeah.
is, yes.
So, since I don't know much history, did I not pick up on a lot of this movie?
There.
I don't think so.
It's because
Most of it was
there's
in
multiple
fantasy.
levels of it, and I'd say there's like 5 levels, and you just saw the if you didn't pay attention to the history aspect,
I
you saw
feel like
like
Frank
4
enjoyed this
or 3 of
movie.
them.
Okay, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
All right, rating.
All right, Logan, give your rating.
Ratings?
Oh God. Okay.
Oh.
That
didn't sound good.
I give this one a 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Enjoyable, but not incredibly so.
Yep.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I wrote down 7.5, but when I looked at that, I went, what? So I might change it for 7 just for right now.
That's fine.
I think since I've been sitting with it in my mind for over 24 hours, it's changed to 7.
I give it finding out your soul is the long lost princess of a dying faction out of 10.
So
Stephanie?
6?
No, you're like it's a bit, it's higher than a 6.
7.
7.
7.5?
7.5.
Give it an 8.
Well, okay, I'm not okay. The thing with numbers is like you can't just have one rating system. It's sort of like if you're going to have 1 out of 10, it's 1 out of 10 for each and every genre because you can't
So
rate.
you'd rather have just something totally abstract?
Yeah.
Where we can't know what you're saying?
Kind of, yeah. It's my way of
Okay, that's
copping
fair.
out.
All right, no, that's fair.
But
I
no,
respect that.
like for being what it was, for being a sort of coming of age adventure movie, for that specific genre, I'm gonna have different ratings for each genre. By the way,
That's fair. Oh no, I get what you're saying.
yeah. So because you can't rate if there's 2 movies and you both give an 8, does that mean like Casablanca is the same as Baby Driver? Like the frame of reference is yeah.
That's fair.
I get what you're saying.
Right.
So
It's difficult.
yeah,
To,
so
do that
for
across.
being a coming of age movie, fantasy, historical drama, I give it an 8 out of 10. I fairly enjoyed Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Fair enough.
Actually, I give it an 8.5.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you give it,
I
Steph?
really enjoyed
I
it.
will give this. I will give this a 7.5 for the cinematography. 10/10.
That shot,
Cinematography
yeah.
was very solid. I enjoyed that
I
quite a
had
bit.
nut. Just
That
saying.
shot when Pedro-
nut. It was just nut.
You know,
Disgusting.
Pedro comes out with the rest of the resistance, and he's just standing, and the rest of the resistance soldiers coming behind him. Like that shot, ooh.
No. Oh no. Okay. So I have like 3 shots that just like stand out to me. The first one being when the 2 hunters come in and like all the soldiers are like, "Hey, Capitan, like these guys are are here," and they're like, "Oh no, we're just hunting for rabbits and stuff." That visual was great.
Oh, when he
Yeah.
was beating his face
Yeah,
in?
I
God
thought that
damn.
was.
Oh.
No, I wrote down, God damn, Guillermo is not really.
That
is
was
not,
a
is not
It was a
afraid-
brutal scene.
I said he's not afraid to show close up.
Yeah.
Fuck, I can't talk. He's not afraid to show violence close up.
I watched this movie when I think I was 8 for the first time.
Ooh, that would scar me.
Yeah,
I would
no.
be crying.
Little bit.
It was.
I
Yeah.
was cringing so hard when Capitan, when he just
Capitan Vidal.
Look at
yeah,
that.
Vidal,
It's beautiful.
when he got his mouth cut and he was doing the
Oh.
Ooh,
stitching.
yeah.
I was like, I was looking away. I
Okay,
couldn't.
that healed very quickly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There was no scabbing in the area.
I don't
There was
remember
no,
seeing it
like-
healed.
It wasn't healed. It was like still split,
Uh-huh.
but it wasn't like bleeding or scabbing or anything. It was just sort of like open.
Like I have to comment Mercedes on her excellent
Mercedes.
just crafting job. Like that was a clean cut
Yeah.
right there.
Mhm.
Like
Why didn't she kill him though?
yeah, I'm saying like she could
Why
have
did
easily
she let
killed
him live?
Yeah,
I thought
By
she
her
was.
last line, it sounded like she was going to. You won't be the first pig I've gutted.
but she didn't gut him. Like she lightly
Yeah, and then
cut
she
him
just
apart.
left.
Like that was
Crazy
a
line.
light
Just
card.
walked out.
Well, she had
Yeah.
more important things to do at the moment.
Yeah, but that
And
was
also,
take that
okay,
long.
but the thing is,
throat.
okay, think about it. She's gonna.
Easy.
If she had killed him, she would have left the baby and Ophelia with no like. Who would be their guardian? I know that she takes.
opposed to
Okay,
the dog.
okay.
What if she had gotten
Okay.
shot?
Yes, but I think it's more like, what would Ophelia think? You
Wait,
know,
you
I
think-
don't think she wanted to have that sin with her.
You think Capitan was going to be a good guardian, though?
I think
Okay, no.
Capitan Vidal counts as -1 guardian.
Okay, but if you think about it, the last scene where somebody does shoot him, it was not her. It was the brother. I think it was just something where she was just like, I'll pass. I just at the
That is a
moment.
it's a crazy
just-
thing to do,
yeah,
honestly, kill
it-
someone, but
Yeah,
it's a movie.
but like
Mercedes.
when that person was about to kill you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
especially
more
especially after like Mercedes watching him torture like another human being.
Yeah.
I'm
and
just
it's
gonna
not like she was fine with maiming him.
Yeah, I was about
Yeah.
to say that's a pretty.
But not to the point where he couldn't just walk out and shoot at her.
Mm-hmm.
Like slit his hamstrings or like something. I don't know.
I don't know.
She
I just feel like she had-
let him go way too easily, I
In
thought.
other words, we crave brutality.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah. I mean, this was a pretty brutal film.
It was.
There were a
was.
lot of scenes in this where they weren't afraid to
I was like,
Yeah, the
God,
thing I
from
really
the action.
like about Del Toro's work is he doesn't cut away from violence
Mm-hmm.
because in American cinema we have a lot of that where right before the violence starts they cut away. But
except for
yeah.
the
almost too much.
amputation. They didn't
Oh,
show the
the- yeah,
I
amputation.
thought they were
Which
going.
I was
Oh my
getting
God.
ready for that. I was like,
I was mentally
cringing at the
prepping my.
thought.
The
I was
first
see, the
incision
worst
they
part
got.
was like I was eating. I was eating a burrito right there, and it was like
I was eating chicken strips.
yeah, I was eating hardcore
eating a
meat, and
man's
I was
leg.
like, oh, I'm gonna have to put this down real fast. Yeah.
No, yeah. The violence. I was like, God damn.
Yeah. I kind of liked it though.
I did
no,
too. I
liked
did
it
too.
They
To an
showed
extent.
that it was brutal.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Uh,
that's real life.
I liked that the captain was like mean and he was evil for something more than just the sake of being evil. You hated him not just because he was evil, but because they showed you these evil things that he did.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like in Wonder Woman where the guy just shoots his own guy because
Yeah.
he's evil. He had a reason for doing all of those evil things, and he was he was a believable evil character.
And you see a
Yes.
lot of his character, you know, when they have dinner and then Ophelia's mom, Carmen,
Oh.
touches his hand and he like
Yeah,
like,
there's a
like,
lot
tosses
of
it
there's
out.
a lot of simple
Yeah.
evil
Yeah.
things. Like he's just a
Yeah.
horrible husband and
Yeah.
father.
I apologize. She thinks her boring stories are interesting.
I
or
was like,
whatever
oh
he
my
said.
God.
Yeah.
And then like the last scene too, where he was like, "Tell my son I died," and like,
Yeah, and she was like,
blah
"Nope."
blah, and then
And
they
nope.
shoot him, and
That-
then
I
boom.
loved- I loved that.
loved that
Oh.
scene.
But
I
also
loved
thought,
that
I thought it was
scene.
interesting
It was so satisfying.
when
Yeah.
they
was
first
nice.
got to the house and he immediately like just put her in a wheelchair, like
Yeah.
just immobilizing her.
But,
Yeah.
like, the
basically, like
thing-
he's still in control
Yeah.
because she can't get far on her own.
And then when they like Ophelia tries to shake his hand, and he like grabs her hand and goes, "It's the other hand." And then
Yeah.
her mom's thing of calling the captain like dad, like it's just like,
Yeah.
you know,
There was definitely a recurring theme of control and disobedience
Yep.
in this.
I
when she
think
eats the
it's-
grapes and when she's told not to.
That pissed me off.
did she do that?
I
Yeah.
wrote down.
Oh,
I wrote
wait.
down. Were those
I-
2 grapes really worth it?
I think it's time for
She
us
could've eaten anything else on that table.
I think it's time for some allegories. So the
Yeah,
entire
dude.
thing is it takes place in Spanish Civil War, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every single character is an allegory for something within the Spanish Civil War. Vidal exists as obviously the Francisco Franco's regime on Spain because after the Civil War there was a regime where Francisco Franco he basically was a fascist regime. He had close connections to Hitler. You know that moment in the Pale Man scene where you see all the piles of shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that has connections with, Nazi Germany's the Holocaust because Francisco Franco had connections in the earlier years of the World War with other fascist regimes. And see the I'll get to the Pale Man in a bit, but the resistance, there's a lot of overlays. Like the fairy itself, it lives in the forest and helps out Ophelia. The resistance, they live in the forest and they help out. The resistance, because Ophelia represents the spirit of Spain itself. Because at the very end, she gives her own life in order to secure a better future for the future, i.e., the baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
but also tying into her dying, that scene, I like. Okay, so the cinematography in the scene, I like how the colors symbolize like fantasy and then the real life. Like you have the blue tones and the greenish tones with like the real life, and then in the fantasy like
Lots
it's
of
warm,
reds.
yeah. And then
Very
in the
warm.
end scene, it combines both of them, both the fantasy and real world, with her blood being bright red, being fantasy, and then the background being blue, real world.
There's also a certain thing I noticed about the deaths in this movie, where the people who are resistance are sort of they sort of have more glamorized deaths. For example, when the Doctor and Ophelia get shot, they get shot. You don't see the exact point of entry, but you just sort of see a lot of red, and they wander around for a bit as if they haven't been shot, and then they go down, and they slowly die. You see really cinematography. Where an example as Vidal, when he got shot, they just show everything, and like it's all disgusting. You see an eye roll up, and you're just like, oh god, yeah, oh my god. So I just found that sort of parallel interesting.
Yeah.
I'd also like to mention that this film got a 15-minute standing ovation at a film festival, and like one of the most prestigious film festivals too.
Which one?
Cannes.
You?
Was it really?
Yeah,
Hey.
it was. It
Nice.
was.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
no.
you.
I feel like it deserved it. I liked this film.
I really enjoyed it.
I'd
I
stand.
had fun.
I don't think anything deserves a standing ovation. Just clap, say good job, that's it. Don't waste your
Okay.
time.
But I mean, like,
Okay.
the creators were there.
Yeah, I'll just go shake their hand.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, then.
there was one shot that I really enjoyed that was very subtle. In the very beginning of the movie, when it shows the car stopping, it sort of stops, and then it sort of lurches forward a bit and then goes back because it's a car stopping. Most cars do that. The camera followed it when it did that. The camera lurched forward and then
Yeah,
back.
I noticed
and
that.
it was a very light, very subtle touch, but I really enjoyed that. It was a really nice touch.
When they're looking at the map in the beginning where Mercedes is with them and it like zooms out, I really liked that part. I just really liked the cinematography. It was in the beginning where she's serving the soldiers like dinner, like real quick. It was in front of the fireplace.
Oh, I kind of remember that.
I'll show you.
I thought something that wasn't subtle, like at all, was just
I'm showing them pictures.
Oh,
Yeah.
I barely remember that. But just that opening sequence, when Ophelia was telling the story to the baby in the mom's stomach, and then it like went into the
to the
room,
boom.
and then it like went
Yeah.
out to its something, and then it went back into the room. That was sick.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
The cinematography in this movie
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
That was
absolutely
insane.
beautiful.
And it won an Academy Award for it.
Yeah, I
so
think
and
it
it
deserved
deserved
it.
it.
It deserved that Academy
deserved
Award.
it. Like 10/10.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, but so do you think her world was real?
That's what I was
there's
gonna
some
ask.
This is
things.
that's what I was going to ask too. I do not.
I have
believe
opinions.
it was all made up.
I think so,
believe it
too.
was all made up by her to cope with this world.
Yep.
And I believe that they named her Ophelia on purpose as sort of that the nod to Hamlet, the character Ophelia who goes insane.
Oh my god, you're right.
Ophelia in Hamlet goes insane
Yeah.
and starts.
Yeah.
She starts seeing things that aren't there.
Yeah.
And so I think they named her that purposely.
Yeah, but there's also that scene in the Labyrinth where she outmaneuvers Vidal because the Labyrinth opens up for her. And Vidal doesn't see the fawn, but take in mind he's also drugged.
But also, I feel like Del Toro purposely made you think, is this like real? And like he gave like little hints, like the root like she put underneath the mom's bed, how the mom was progressively getting better
That's
after
the one
she did
thing
it.
where I was like, is it real or
But
fake?
also Mercedes saw the outline chalk of the door, because there's a scene where she gets locked in the attic, and then she gets out by drawing the like little door with
little
chalk,
door, yeah.
and she escapes. So I feel like he purposely did that. Like he gave little hints, like, oh, this could be real, but also this could be fake. But
I would think this amount of trauma would be enough to drive somebody to sort of go insane, though.
like in my
and
opinion,
believe truly that they are doing these
Yeah,
things.
because there's certain ways, like if you look at it, there's ways that Ophelia could rationalize because the Pale Man, if you go the route that Ophelia is using the fantasy world to cope, the Pale Man represents Vidal's sadism, because when you're introduced to the Pale Man, you're like, why is he a child eater? Like, there's all this unnecessary, just like pure evil, and that could be a representation of Vidal. Also, in the dinner scene, that's right before the Pale Man scene, the tables and the feast all look similar, and Vidal is even sitting in the same place on the table that the Pale Man is sitting as
but
well.
you see,
I saw that.
but she
Yeah.
was not there for that. I think it was just something that
Oh, right.
the
Yeah,
the cinematographer for this film did mention something about that, but he said it wasn't like on purpose.
really?
Yeah. But the thing is that I personally believe that her world was real, but I think I'd find the movie like a lot more like I feel like the movie is a lot more powerful if her world was imaginary.
Yeah, that's because I was thinking like it's her idea of like almost an afterlife with when the ending sequence when it was like the mother and her father. Like this is just kind of her way to cope, to reconnect with her father. And yeah, she hates living with the Captain. Captain. So like it's just kind of in her head like, oh, if I do these things, I'll be able to meet my dad again, my real dad.
Oh yeah, there's also another tie-in with allegorical things. This movie,
I love Al Gore.
This movie.
Hey, Stephanie's supposed to be the one with the info on this movie.
The entire movie's central theme is like authoritarianism and like blind obedience isn't exactly like the best. Like the Doctor even says the theme of the movie when he says like only people like you can follow rules blindly. And at the very end of the movie, if she were to follow the Fawn's rules blindly, she wouldn't be the queen anymore because that was the true test. I found it interesting how they put little hints on the Fawn's test. There's little hints. For example, like when she takes the 2 grapes, the Fawn gives her a second chance, implying the rules are not solid, where she has an ability to have a second chance, as well as the fact when she's in the Pale Man's room. I have no idea why she chooses to do so, but she decides to disobey the instructions and not go for the middle door, but go for the left door, and it's right. She was right by disobeying.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
Oh, yeah.
What the significance of that was.
And it also ties in with the fact where she's the spirit of Spain, where she was right to rebel against the absolute authoritarianism, because democracy and stuff.
Democracy.
I'd also like to go back to the last scene on whether or not her world is fantasy or real. But in the story at the end, they say how the princess would leave little clues to show her time on Earth, and the flower blooms.
Yeah.
And Del Toro, he doesn't want to like give his opinion on like whether or not he thinks the world is real or not. But he said that he is on the side of fantasy, and he thinks he purposely put things that made it look real because he thought it was real. And I know both of you had a lot to say that there was a lot of similarities with
Shape of Water.
Yes. And I believe so too. Yeah, no, because I said when I watched Shape of Water, I was like, this reminds me so much of Pan's Labyrinth.
Like both villains get disfigured. Like for example, Vidal gets the stab, the other guy gets his fingers. Oh, Shape of Water spoilers, by the way. He gets his fingers, and like they both cause damage to their injuries. Vidal drinks the alcohol, bringing pain to himself. The guy literally rips off his fingers. They both have this twisted sense of family, where the guy has a sense to keep his family, and Vidal wants a son, and they both kill the main character, but not really, because they're both like legit like kill them on screen, but then off screen they say, oh no, everything's okay.
Yeah,
but you're not sure.
They both sort of end with the ambiguous, did they die?
Yeah.
Did they not die? Are they living
Which
on
I
in this
like.
fantasy world?
But
Well, I mean,
like
she
that.
died.
I like having the option.
But her spirit.
No, she
is on.
died.
Yeah.
She is dead as fuck.
I like to believe that she died in Shape of Water.
I do too.
I
I
would
like that
pray.
ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like
dead.
having the
I like the
option
idea.
whether or not I like being left with the question of like, so what happened?
Yeah.
Like, I love that feeling of a film.
Oh, also, I'm about to say a controversial subject right here.
Oh.
Pan's Labyrinth is similar to Shrek.
Go off, kid.
Explain.
No, go on. Pop off.
Okay.
Pop off.
So hear me out on this one. So Shrek is basically a movie about, it's basically a subverting expectations movie about, the whole fairy tale business. Literally, it's about an ogre who manages to date a princess who becomes an ogre, and they live happily ever after. It's the same thing with Pan's Labyrinth, where, you have all these fairy tale elements. And, it's construed to say, like, here are the rules, here's what happens, here are the morals you're supposed to follow. And what does Pan's Labyrinth do? What does Ophelia do? She decides to subvert expectations by disobeying, not obeying the narrative. And the movie itself doesn't follow the fairy tale, fairy tale stereotypes. Whereas, because, Disney sort of leads the book on fairy tale guidelines and everything. Yeah. So they made a very un-Disney fairy tale movie. So that itself is disobedience as well.
It did sort of remind me quite a bit of like Grimm's fairy tales, like the sort of original fairy tale stories of how everything was pretty much just kind of gruesome and just gross.
So world building.
World building,
It's fine.
I thought
really liked it.
It was solid. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just talk about the fawns real fast? Like, just like
The fawns?
I love the fawns.
Hey.
No, with the fawn, like how
Yeah.
insanely cool his character.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
that was great CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It was makeup.
Yeah,
No,
it was
no,
all
no,
makeup.
it was
No,
practical.
yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
makeup.
I was wondering
Doug
that.
Doug
No.
Jones, my boy.
No, literally
yeah.
to save money, the entire thing is
No
practical.
way.
The only thing they CGI is the bottom of his feet because the way that the suit was created, you know how his feet,
has
his bottom feet
stilts.
almost never move.
Yeah.
That's because they're stilts.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought that looked. I was debating it the whole time. I was like, is this real or is this CGI? And then when she was the pale man, I thought he looked bad.
There's
Oh,
act-
yeah.
His costume looked bad. So
Like,
I was
can we
like,
just talk
oh,
about how
fawn
the
must
pale
be
man
CGI.
needs leg day badly?
Guillermo del Toro
Doug
actually
Jones.
drew that. Like every character, I think he drew them. But also there is one scene where you do see the stilts.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
There is one scene. I think it's towards the end, but you do see the stilts and a shadow. I remember that specifically because when the first time I watched it when I was
it's
like
one of
8.
those things you
Yeah,
can't unsee?
I just remember. Yeah, I can't unsee
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
That's really good makeup though on the fawn.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's great.
Okay.
The way he spoke, like, the way he spoke, it was just like,
Yeah,
like
he was
you
great. Mm.
just really get the sense of like that age.
That was not Doug Jones, by the way. He
What?
tried. He tried speaking Spanish. Guillermo del Toro was like, I'll just, it's okay.
Wait, Doug Jones?
Doug Jones.
That doesn't
He
exactly
was-
sound. That doesn't exactly sound Latin.
Yeah. No.
Was he American?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
like,
American.
Like really
He's
famous
he's
for
super
being-
famous. Yeah.
Pretty much every movie he's in, you don't really see his face because they cover him in makeup. He played the pale man and also the
What,
fawn. in
really?
this, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in most
He
ballistic gel torso
He
movies.
also he also played the monster in Shape of Water.
what?
That was him. Yeah, that was him.
He
Yeah.
was the.
I believe it.
He was the alien in Covenant, right? He played the
No,
alien.
really?
I'm pretty
How
sure.
did he get-
I'm
Oh,
pretty
just
sure
kidding.
for
Doug
the
Jones is
practical scenes.
Oh my God, Doug Jones plays like all my favorite like monster movies.
Yeah, he's
I'm gonna have to
super
double-check
famous
that
for
one,
that.
actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
Not implying that Pan's Labyrinth is a monster movie, by the way.
Yeah. No.
You don't think it's a monster movie?
Well, no.
I guess not technically, but good. But
fawn-
fawn is a great monster.
My grandma went
Is
into
the
that
fawn a
movie.
monster, though?
Oh yeah. I mean,
It's more of a fantasy creature.
I wouldn't think he's a
guess.
monster. I just think he's a creature.
fantasy
I'd
creature.
put
Oh,
him
Yeah.
into
I think that was somebody else
monster
actually
territory
as
though.
the alien, but
No.
he was in Hellboy. He's the blue guy.
Yeah, I remember that.
He played the Silver Surfer
Oh,
in the second Fantastic Four movie.
right
Your
on.
dad mentioned him.
Mm.
Shout out to your dad.
Hey.
Shout out,
Hey.
He
Talk
was
real
in
fast.
Star Trek Discovery, I guess.
Oh, he was the ship.
I believe it.
Hey, is Doug Jones in this room? Is he the chairs right now?
Yeah, we're all sitting on a piece of Doug Jones right now.
yeah.
We love a man.
I love
He's
Doug
in,
Jones.
he's in Falling Skies, that TV show about the aliens.
I have
Pretty
like,
sure he played an alien.
like in these 5 minutes, I have garnered so much respect for Doug Jones.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
dude, he's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, no.
Love you, Doug Jones.
We love you, Doug
Love
Jones.
you,
This
love
podcast
you.
is dedicated to Doug Jones.
He's actually an avid listener of this podcast.
I knew it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
emailed me. He emailed me the other
Yeah.
day. He was like, "Matt, I love your podcast. Make a second
He-
episode.
yeah, by the way, I'm Doug
dedicated to
Jones."
me."
He mailed me a letter, and it turned out he was just the letter.
Yeah, yeah. He dressed up as the letter.
Yeah, like
He's an amazing actor.
like I went home and it turns out I've been living in Doug Jones the entire time.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen that. Frank's house is Doug Jones.
Doug Jones.
We should kazoo it for Doug Jones.
Yeah, let's do a kazoo for Doug Jones.
Kazoo for Doug
Kazoo.
Jones.
Do the Pan's Labyrinth
Let's-
song. The
let's
the
do
Pan's
it.
Hammer-
Labyrinth
Right.
song.
I
That's
know.
for you, Doug Jones.
Yeah,
All
I
for
know
you.
that entire
R.I.P.
thing because I will subconsciously just start singing in it to myself. I can't speak words.
Oh,
okay.
also,
Thank you.
I just remembered. There's a large like obsession with shoes in the movie.
There's a lot. Yeah, they focused on shoes a lot in
Yeah,
this
like
movie.
there's the
Alias
black shoes she got, the
shoes.
red shoes in the back, and the shoes in the pale man's.
Yeah.
When he's cleaning his boot.
Yeah.
But also, I heard, I don't know if this is correct, but the Capitan's watch from his dad, I heard his whole entire like office that he's in is
All broken
supposed
gears. All broken
Yeah,
gears.
it's
Like
supposed
they're
to be
all gears
shaped.
that don't move.
Yeah, it's supposed to be shaped as his father's watch, which I found interesting.
Yeah, because
That's
if you look
interesting.
closely at the back, it's all
Yeah, it's
like
all gears.
Yeah, all gears.
Yeah.
And like his like most half his movie time is just trying to
Hiccup.
fix the broken watch. And yeah, there's a lot of gears in Vidal's life because you know.
So I had a few issues with the Pale Man scene.
Explain.
Yeah, I think that's the scene
tie-in,
that pissed me off.
Real fast. He's also a representation for the church in the Spanish Civil War because
Explain.
You know the dinner scene. You know the dinner scene.
Yes.
And then where the priest says their soul is already saved. I don't care what happens to their bodies. That was taken. Guillermo del Toro said that was actually taken from a speech said during the Spanish Civil War. So the Pale Man represents the church in the way that as it eats children, it sort of like eats purity. So since because most of the Spanish Civil War was fought because it was the way they basically justified their whole thing was they justified it through religion. So the church was a big part in Francisco Franco's regime. And so Guillermo del Toro has said that the Pale Man represents the Church of Spain during that period.
That's very interesting.
That
I would never pick up on that.
Yeah,
That's
that's why
I don't know enough.
That's why when
So
she
I'm a
takes the
dumbass.
two grapes, like there's also that parallel where during the dinner scene, the wealthy are having a feast while discussing rationing out food to the lower class. So it's as a direct parallel to the Pale Man scene. Ophelia represents again the spirit of Spain by taking just a little bit, and the Pale Man is just so outraged by this, she's going to eat Ophelia's head off just for taking two grapes.
Okay, that makes that
That's
scene
sort of
much
greed,
more
yeah.
acceptable to me.
So with the Pale Man scene, I did have a couple things that bothered me. One, she had no reason whatsoever to take those grapes.
Yeah,
It's not like she's underfed.
Actually,
It's not like they
Wait,
established that this place curses you to be incredibly hungry or thirsty or
Was that
anything
not
like
the
that.
night her mom made her not eat supper?
Yeah,
I thought that was
Yeah.
the next
Was-
night.
No,
I
she didn't eat.
Oh,
I thought
Yeah.
that was the next day because
I did-
the next time we see the fawn, he's like, "Hey, you didn't do it last night. You have to do it tonight now."
Yeah, no.
I think you might be right.
No,
I had a feel. I didn't think that was the same night.
I don't think she ate though. She was doing a lot. No scene have I seen her eat
Like,
except
even-
that
It
one.
didn't show her eating, but I assumed that
Yeah.
she had because
I'm
everybody
pretty sure
there
she
ate
didn't.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was in none of those scenes though.
But
Yeah.
also, can we just address even if she was hungry, even if she did have a reason to eat, why did she just stand there chewing, not looking backwards, just standing there in a single place,
Yeah.
chewing forward
And-
with her eyes closed?
and
I hate how she was chewing those fairies. I hated
Acting
that.
like a
Yeah.
cherry. What was it? Grape? It was a grape, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
all the
Yeah, it
fairies
was
are
great.
like telling you, like, "Hey, yo, pay attention," and she's like, "No, I'm enjoying these
I'm
grapes
chewing
right
this,
now."
But like,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
grape has ever tasted that good.
yeah,
Where she was just like,
that must have been like the best grape ever. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
So one thing that kind of bothered me about that scene is that she takes the plate with his eyes on it, and then gives it back.
I know. I thought about that. I thought about that too.
Like if I had suddenly for some reason decided I was the hungriest person in the world and was going to steal a single grape from this terrifying creature, the room is covered in paintings of him eating babies. I'm gonna watch that thing while I'm taking it.
Okay.
And I'm also
Or
going
I'll
to
just not
move his
take it.
eyes away from him.
Okay, here's a question to all of you. Could Ophelia have taken the Pale Man? Because, like, look at his legs. Like, he skips leg day every single day.
No,
think so.
absolutely
He
not.
probably eats babies because they don't run.
She just has to give him a high five to blind him. He walks
Yeah.
with his hands way out in front of him
Exactly.
anyway.
It is my personal belief that if Ophelia had like a baseball bat, Pale Man's going down.
She had a knife.
Oh,
She had a giant knife.
yeah.
right, you're right.
Okay. If she had, all I'm saying is that if Ophelia chose, she could have probably taken the Pale Man full on. Do you see his
Yeah, I'd
arms?
probably put my
His
money
arms
on
aren't
Ophelia.
exactly like lifting material.
No, they're really weak and floppy.
Yeah.
And the way he walks, he was all rickety. Like,
Yeah.
Ophelia could probably trip him and he'd die.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole thing with the grapes and everything like that really bothered me. And then the fact that she ran out of time and then was just able to draw another door.
And she had great upper arm strength.
Yeah, incredible upper arm strength.
See, she could take on the Pale Man with that.
I feel like it goes to the gym. She hit some weights, but
and she was she just drew another door and she was fine.
Mm-hmm.
So why did she have that time limit in the first place?
Didn't he explain it though? I don't remember what he said, but I'm just assuming.
He just said you have to be back before the last piece of sand falls.
I think that's.
I mean, she still failed the mission.
Well, I think that's a.
I mean, she succeeded. She got what she meant to do,
And
and then she
ultimately it
got
didn't
back,
matter.
even though she broke like 4 different rules.
Yeah.
She didn't open the right thing. She took the grapes. She ran out of time. And then she just drew another door, and she was fine, and she got out okay.
But
But
I think
didn't
that
Lafon say
go ahead.
something? Yeah, he like scolded her, right?
Yeah,
That was
he
it.
scolded her,
Yeah.
but
and then he gave her a second chance.
he said that if you run out of time, you're stuck and you're gonna die. And she ran out of time.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
And then she just drew a second door, and it was fine.
I didn't think
But
about that
technically,
at all.
she didn't run out of time. That dial still had some of it.
It didn't
The
have
door
any
just
time left.
closed.
Then why would the door close if the time wasn't out?
I saw it in that.
No, the time
in that
was out.
shot. No, in that shot there was still sand.
Then why the door close?
I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
That
like,
was
I think
technical difficulty.
I think
I
you
don't
also
know.
have to look at, like, again, the theme of the movie is disobedience. So,
Mhm.
like, she disobeyed one, the time limit, the other one, choosing the wrong door, the other one, the grapes, and what was the fourth one? She did another act of
She
disobedience.
didn't steal his eyes.
I
But
feel like
yeah, but like everything turned out okay for her because that's the central theme, that disobedience doesn't always mean
Which
bad.
is why I think that the world wasn't real, because her life is filled with being told to obey. So to have this fantasy world where even when she disobeys everything she's told to do, everything turns out okay. I think that was sort of a sort of showing that this was a coping mechanism.
Yeah, I think I've figured the world was a coping mechanism for her, and like it was all inspired by the book she was reading.
Yeah.
Because the mom was like, "You shouldn't be reading those. You told." Oh,
I'm kind of on Stephanie's side.
I
of this.
think
Really? I think it was
I
fake.
think it is too. Like
I don't
there's-
think so.
There was a lot of signs within the movie that made me stand more to that.
Because
side of
the
her.
fact that like the other characters interact with the mandrake root, and she didn't go hunting for the mandrake root. She was given the mandrake
that
root.
thing she put under the bed.
Yeah, she was given it, and other characters interact with it.
I think it could have just been.
I think it was just a root that she found.
Yeah,
No,
it
'cause,
was
like,
just all in her
That she
head.
imagined a story for.
'Cause when-
Same with the chalk.
Because when the other characters picked it up, they didn't be like, "Why is this root talking and shit?" They're just
Yeah.
like, why is this under the bed?"
And nobody reacted to the thing screaming in the fireplace.
But-
So I think that was in her
But
head.
the
Yeah,
thing
but
is
also,
that
like-
she's the princess too. In the story, that she was the princess. These are signs that only the princess can see. If you
Sounds
think,
like she's schizophrenic.
No. If you think about
Which is
it,
not a joke,
like,
by the way, very serious
It's how you
disease.
see the world. Like the captain sees the world as cruel. Like the cinematography, this is where it plays out, because when you go to the captain, it's like a cruel world. Like it's brutal. It's blah blah blah. This is what like the cinematographer said, but it's like rough. It's rough. It's a rough explanation. But
Yep.
then you go to Ophelia's like side, and it's like bright and fantasy, and it just he said something about
fantasy.
That. No,
Yes,
No.
fantasy.
Fantasy.
I
Yes.
don't think it's fantasy.
It's a fantasy.
Del Toro doesn't think it's fantasy either, but he won't.
Well, the director is wrong.
Yeah, I know
All right,
this movie
the writer
better than
and
Guillermo.
director is wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Me
like
and Logan
also
are right.
could take it could be like purposely meant to be like ambiguous.
Well, no, it is. Yeah,
It's
it's
supposed
supposed
to-
to spark
yeah,
these
yeah.
No, it is
conversations.
ambiguous. It's supposed to, spark conversations just like this.
Yeah.
Guillermo,
Where Ben and Logan are completely wrong.
nah, Guillermo
Hey.
produced this podcast.
Yeah. No, Guillermo, he wrote me a letter, and he told me,
Yeah,
"Hey, man, you're totally right. I just
Give me your receipts.
no,
Give me your receipts.
no,
give me your receipts.
Because they don't be shown to you.
Yeah.
'Cause you're the princess.
Yeah, he's
yeah, I'm the
You're
princess.
supposed to be on my side, Frank.
And Logan made that
Thanks.
up. It's his fantasy. It's his
Thanks.
coping.
Yeah, it's my fantasy, and I think it's real.
When
Yeah.
3 boys are in a room, they just all
Just
fucking-
3
Well, I'm
boys.
still on your side.
He's
about
on
the
your
fantasy
side.
part.
I'm
Well,
just kidding,
okay.
just kidding.
I'm playing devil's advocate right now.
I know you are.
There
you
were
totally are.
there were a few things, just technical things that I noticed about this movie. They reused a shot at one point.
Oh,
like
did
they
they?
reused a setting. I noticed
I don't remember.
that the scene when she's walking up to the fig tree, the first task, that forest scene specifically is reused later when all the soldiers are coming out somewhere. They're all walking along a hill, and it's the same hill. Like I went back and checked to see if the trees were in the same spots, and it's the exact same setting. And I think they were actually happening concurrently, so I don't think that was intentional. I don't think it was supposed to be the same spot.
But I mean, it's like, it's the
But
same
I
forest,
wouldn't have
right?
noticed if I hadn't like double checked.
Talking about that forest scene, can we just talk about like the amount of courage like just Ophelia had to like? I'm just gonna go into a tree. I'm gonna see a giant frog.
Yeah, you're
I'm
right.
gonna
You're
deal
so
with
right.
that
You're
shit.
so right.
That was my note.
That was so gross.
This little girl is not phased by any of
Like
that.
being
No.
covered in bugs.
No,
like,
she was
going
fine
on with
that.
part of the reason why I believe the fantasy world is real is because like that little girl, like, ooh, my God, she's
Yeah,
so
She
strong.
didn't
That was-
scream or anything when the frog like
If-
licked her face.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't she gonna kill her brother?
Huh?
Like towards the end, like she
Well,
had
no,
that
no,
thought,
no,
right?
No.
No.
'Cause She was going to give her brother to the fawn.
Yeah.
Because like she thought they were going to go to the portal, but then
Oh,
the
right,
but the
right,
fawn
right.
says like, hey,
Yeah,
let me stab your
Hey.
brother, and she's like, haha, no.
Yeah, right.
But then
right,
she
I
passed the
remember.
test because she disobeyed, and it turned out to be better.
Yes.
All right.
And then
a good theme.
another big thing for me that took me out of a couple scenes is they kept like smoking fake cigarettes in this movie.
Really?
They kept lighting the cigarettes, breathing in and then breathing out regular air as smoke came out of the cigarette. It happened like in multiple scenes.
I did not pick up on that.
I would never.
And
I
every
would
time I
notice.
saw
notice.
them, every time I saw them breathe in the cigarette, I would watch to see if they breathed it back out, and they'd be talking, and I expected to see like little puffs or something coming out as they were speaking, but then nothing happened.
Because
And I
the
was like,
cigarettes
oh.
are in the fantasy
Yeah, the
world.
cigarettes are part of the fantasy world.
Lie.
Yeah, I would have never noticed that.
Well, I mean, like the chalk. The chalk exists
Fucking
with
drag
Vidal
them.
in his
Drag
office.
them.
Vidal
Yeah.
actually physically interacts with
He
chalk.
does.
But that
He
doesn't
does.
mean the effects that the chalk does is real.
She
Yeah, but Vidal-
escaped a
is
locked
Vidal a
attic
magical
through the
princess?
She
chalk.
thinks that she escaped a locked attic
She
through the
did
chalk.
though.
She did though, yeah.
She did.
She
though.
legit did. Yeah, because Vidal literally
was
locked
ending.
her in there. She wasn't given a key of any sort, unless like Ophelia's like a lockpicker in her subconsciousness. There's no way she got out of that attic without.
I mean, we've seen that she's a really strong person.
I
Yeah.
still don't think she.
She could have just
escaped.
Mongo broken down the doors.
punched down the door.
Yeah.
Boy.
She's strong.
Yeah, she's
I-
strong.
Strong.
I think the fantasy world's real because like there's no way Ophelia could have gotten out of that attic by herself.
That
There's
is
a
an
lot of
interesting point.
things.
For some
There's a
reason,
lot of things.
I don't
know.
remember getting locked into an attic, and I don't know why.
No, because remember, like once it's near the end of the movie,
Then-
Vidal basically gets tired of her shit and locks her in the
In an
attic.
attic?
Do they actually show her going through the chalk door?
Yes.
Yeah,
Do they? Okay.
Yes, she draws a
I
chalk.
think I looked away for that
because the thing,
couple of seconds.
because the thing that makes
were you
the
looking at?
entire thing ambiguous
It's probably
is,
getting water or something.
is I was reading a few comments made about this movie, and someone said, I forget who exactly said it, but I was reading an article, and they said that the shots between the fantasy world and the real world are seamless.
Mhm.
So that really adds the ambiguity of
Yeah.
the whole fantasy aspect of it.
I think she just broke through the.
Oh my god.
Broke through the labyrinth. Ophelia, punch!
That's going back just for a couple seconds to Spirited Away. That's one of the things I really enjoyed about it was that she was weak. She was very
Yeah.
small, and
She's so
every single
cute.
object that she interacted with had
Yeah.
weight. And she was struggling to lift even
Like the
like
coal?
smaller things. Yeah, the
Yeah.
coal. It like she was struggling with that, and you could really see that she was having difficulty. Where in this, she was just sort of able to do everything.
Ophelia's
Yeah.
like Captain
seamlessly.
Falcon.
Yeah, she never really
Yeah.
struggled to do anything, despite her being a little girl.
That's
Like,
true.
literally,
So
like,
fantasy.
With that arm strength, I bet you could Falcon punch anyone. You put Vidal and Ophelia in a room together. All I'm saying is Vidal ain't leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe she was strong. I could see that.
That strong as a little girl?
Dude, you guys
She's a
underestimated
nerd.
the last
who
time.
all she does is read books. She's a nerd. She doesn't have no upper
Ben,
Her
arms.
arms
shut
are
up.
strong from lifting
Yeah,
books.
just turning the pages. She's
Yeah,
got
like
fucking-
legit.
If
Those
you
are some
tried
pretty
it, you
big
wouldn't be
books,
able to do
though.
it. So then that's why you're roasting
No,
Ophelia.
like literally,
Yeah.
like Ophelia's like
She could have lifted the captain over her head and thrown him down the
Star
well.
Wars style.
Like legit, like actually, like in the movie, like she's always carrying like a stack of 4 books and
Yeah.
a giant
They're
storybook.
decent sized books.
Yeah.
That's not gonna get her jacked. What is that? Maybe 5 pounds? Maybe.
For a little girl. For a little girl, that's pretty big.
No.
With her frame,
We
those are pretty
respect
big.
a
So
woman.
because she carries what 4 books, she can
Well,
pull up
it's
all
a
the
cool-
way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, she can do like
Yeah.
crazy pull up.
Oh boy, but I mean, like
It's a fantasy
she got
world.
floorboards.
It's a
She was,
fantasy
she was
world.
scratching the floor for grip.
Mm.
Yeah, because she
yeah,
had
yeah, no,
floorboards.
you're
But
totally
still,
right. Yeah, you're
just
totally
because you
right.
have grip doesn't mean you have upper arm strength.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you're more likely.
I
'Cause,
guess.
Like, if I give you
It's a fantasy world.
just
I
like
am-
a straight up like
I could do
box,
it,
heavy,
and at that age,
you
I
can't.
could do it.
At that age,
I could do it.
I am willing to believe that she was able to pull herself out of the Pale Man's
It's
room
not
just
hard.
because
adrenaline.
Adrenaline, yeah.
Yeah.
In life-threatening situations, you can push past your normal boundaries, and I believe this would have triggered that for her.
Ophelia
But
is
there
just
are a few other
constantly-
scenes where
yeah.
she's just like
I'm just joking around.
strong. yeah.
What?
I'm just joking around. you
That
know?
was said out of context.
I know.
In relation to what?
Yeah.
about her not being able to get up, not be able to
Aw.
pull up. I'm just joking around, just having fun here.
You've now-
Afraid of the
you've now
outrage?
discredited
Afraid of the
everything you've ever
comments?
said.
No, but
Comments now, Ben.
it's a fantasy world.
I think
So now
it's
you believe it's a
real.
fantasy world, Ben.
I've been believing it's a fantasy world.
Okay, cool.
I also believe that this is a fantasy world.
I think it's real.
I just think it's her coping mechanism.
I mean,
think it's real.
I think
It's a
it'd
real
be
fantasy world.
powerful if it wasn't real, but I think it is
That's
real.
why I like to believe
That's
that it
why.
isn't,
Okay,
because
that's
it's-
fair.
It makes it more.
I-
It
meaningful
makes
to
it
me.
more. If it
If it
was
was real, I'd be like,
if
this
it
is
was
stupid.
real, then the movie wouldn't have been as
Yeah.
good. to
Okay.
me.
I'll take that.
I
I'll
enjoyed
say-
the movie more believing that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Just to
No.
back to Spirited Away, there's almost an ending like that where you're supposed to be like, was this real? But then it shows the hair tie.
Yeah.
So it was real.
What does the hair tie do? I was so confused by that because it's like, oh, it'll protect you. And like, it's like, I guess it'll protect
Oh
during
yeah,
life.
it didn't
maybe?
do anything.
Yeah,
It's never used.
Well, I mean, like, well, I don't know, because it was one. It could be one of those things where it's like, oh, you know, she'll live life like all nice and stuff because you have protection. But you know, it's just one of those things where like, you know, it'd be nice to know what would it be.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Back to Pan's Labyrinth.
Back to
Back.
Oof, oof.
prequel to Shape of Water.
Yeah, there's a shot of a bathtub, and I went,
Mm.
Guillermo likes
Oh,
his
don't
bathtub.
Oh,
judge me now.
Yeah.
The first shot of her dying, like you just hear her breathing, where she's like it's. They're telling the story with the tide, the subtitle.
Personal fan theory. Ophelia loses her ability to speak after getting shot.
Me.
Shape of Water. Boom. All I'm saying, boom, done deal.
Boom, dumb, beal.
Apparently, Shape of Water takes place canonically at the same time as Hairspray.
What?
In the same city. Same
Okay.
same city, same time period as Hairspray.
you're fucking with me, right?
No, I'm not. It's Baltimore.
What?
I thought
Uh,
Shape of Water was much earlier.
Yeah.
No, it's Hairspray. It's like 80s, isn't it?
What?
Shape
What?
of Water.
Hairspray?
Hairspray is where like segregation was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like 70s somewhere.
The good days.
I don't remember the actual.
I don't
This-
remember
this has
Hairspray.
been
a while.
I watched Hairspray when I was a little kid. I don't remember it.
Isn't there a song saying like something about the 50s? Well,
Yeah, no,
Oh, yeah,
you,
they
you're
go,
right.
"We're
It
living
was
in the
much
50s."
earlier. It was much earlier.
1960s.
When
1962
was Shape-
Baltimore.
When was Shape
Oh.
of Water?
I think that was like
that was like World War II.
I didn't
Yeah, wait,
care
where'd
much
you
for
hear
that
that, Logan?
movie.
You just talking
I-
out your ass?
No, I saw it online.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
We
You're good.
love
You're
it.
good then.
Another similarity between the Shape of Water villain and the Pan's Labyrinth villain.
1960s Cold War Baltimore.
Ooh.
What was Hairspray? I already forgot.
1962, Baltimore.
Okay, you're right then. You're right.
But so another similarity between them, when they're about to go kill the protagonist, both characters have lost everything. Whereas the guy in Shape of Water, like the general's breathing down his neck and saying like you're about to be fired. And in the Pan's Labyrinth, the resistance is invading. So both villains see their world, their basically high position just crumble, and that's what makes them like just they're basically losing everything, and that's what makes them double down on their efforts to kill the protagonist.
Yeah.
And I noticed that was another cool little that's cool, that's the same. Like the thing about it is like both villains are similar in concept, but the way that they're executed is different and provides a different feel.
Yeah. No, the villains were both very, very similar, I thought.
Yeah. I think I need to rewatch Shape of Water, but talking about the similarities, I remember them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I just remember saying how much this film reminds me of Pan's Labyrinth and that you guys should go watch Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And we're here now.
Wow.
Cute.
Yeah.
Mm.
Final thoughts?
Yeah. Final.
Final scores? Or
Final
do
rating.
we have more?
Ratings?
I might change it back to 7.5.
Oh, lit. That's
I'm
good.
gonna, I'm gonna bump mine up to a 7. Honestly,
Yeah.
talking more about it, I kind of.
Yeah.
I did kind of. That's 7 for both of these.
This is like
Okay,
my
nice.
version of watching it again.
Yeah.
'Cause I've
I
only
think
watched
so.
it
Yeah.
once.
Mhm.
I feel I need
Yeah.
to speak with others
Yeah.
about my thoughts about this to sort
Yeah.
of develop them a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
I retain my 8.5 because again I'm just a little bit of a history buff, so I really enjoyed the sort of like parallels
Mhm.
and
Okay, wait. So since we got a number rating for this one, can we get a number rating for Spirited Away?
For Spirited Away.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so okay, so would you classify Pan's Labyrinth as an isekai movie? Okay.
I think I would from your
There's like a
description
dot
before.
moment.
It's basically a different world movie.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay,
yeah, I
then,
would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
so,
it was in. I said the reason why the magic worked for me, even if it was real, it would sort of work for me because it was in like a secluded area where it did feel like it was its own world.
Yeah.
There was very little of it in the movie.
yeah,
Of
The
world?
movie was a lot of
the real life.
real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was.
Which surprised me because just from what I had seen of the movie, I assumed that it was going to be a very similar
Yeah.
story to Spirited Away about this little girl getting lost in this fantasy land and having to find her way back, not this little girl
Like
living
Alice
in
in
real
Wonderland.
life. Yeah.
Opposite,
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Alice
it
in
was,
Wonderland is the original isekai, by the way.
very much
One of
Original one?
Well, not the
Not
original,
what I
but
was
one of
expecting.
the most famous original.
Okay.
Which is
Okay.
fair. Which
Yeah.
is fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I would consider it
Okay,
one.
so Pan's Labyrinth and Spirited Away both being a isekai coming of age story about a young girl trying to find her way in the world. Spirited Away, I would give. Oh God, let me give me a few moments to really gather the amalgamation of my thoughts into a number rating.
Okay.
Please speak. I feel like this
I
is
would-
just
I would
silence.
give- I would give Pan's Labyrinth
Nobody's
an 8.
speaking until you give
Yeah,
us
I
your
was-
rating.
I was just gonna sit
Okay.
here in
Just
silence.
stare.
God.
Just stare.
Oh God, all of them are staring at me.
We
This
should
is-
we should make a.
Oh no! Please continue your
Yeah,
thought.
yes.
Please continue your thought. I'm gonna give Spirited Away. You know, it was a really nice story about a young girl finding her way in the route, and I really enjoyed the subplot of the worker. I just really enjoyed the bathhouse. Okay, I really enjoyed everyone's interactions. Like Lynn was so
Score,
nice to
score,
Chihiro.
Score.
Can we just
score?
okay?
Score. Score.
Okay.
It's really easy. It's just
Yeah,
a number.
it's a number.
But see, it sort of provides like a reference in the future, you know, for
No,
all
yeah, I think
isekai
about
coming of
that.
age
Yeah,
films.
yeah.
So
No,
it's
we
really
know.
hard because like, I will give it a.
Or give it a percentage.
Ooh.
Either.
Whoa.
I will give it a 7.64.
Wow, pitchforked it. Okay.
Okay.
That's a fair.
Pitchfork?
okay.
What does
Nice.
pitchfork mean?
Just do the odd decimals like that.
Oh.
The rating system for albums.
Yeah.
What?
Mm.
Yeah. No.
Pitchfork. The
I got
What?
You, I got you.
pitchfork. The
I got you.
the
No
pub-
comment.
the- all right, I'll edit that out.
Don't you
No,
dare.
keep it in. Keep
Don't
it
you
in.
dare.
Keep it in.
Yeah.
Keep it in.
You,
Alright.
you left in me being awkward.
So what's your? We got your final
Stephanie,
thoughts,
final
right?
rating.
I will give it an 8.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Both
Fair
of these movies were beautiful to look at. I
Gorgeous.
enjoyed watching both of them.
They are
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
pleasing.
Mhm.
They are
Mm.
very.
I highly enjoyed them.
pleasing.
I did too. I enjoyed them highly, but I enjoyed them.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well,
Fair.
see, because Spirited Away provided more of just like that's sort of fantastical child aspect.
Yeah.
Whereas Pan's Labyrinth, like it provided like a real drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think for me, Spirited Away, I could tell it was trying to bring out the inner child in me, but for some reason it wasn't.
Mm.
Well, it's the audience it was made for
I'm not
was
Asian.
10-year-old.
Yeah. It was literally made for 10-year-olds.
It was
Yeah, no,
10-year-old
that's what I said.
girls.
I said that,
It
but it
was
was still
10-year-old girls.
It was
It's
made
still-
for 10-year-olds, but like the faceless guy, that entire scene in the bathhouse, like, you see, if I saw that as 10-year-old, I'd be
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh my
It
god.
was
There's
made
some
for
freaky
10-year-old
stuff.
girls, but the audience it appealed to
Yeah,
were
'cause it
older
was, like,
people.
critically
Yeah.
acclaimed.
With
right?
that in mind, the 10-year-old viewer, like looking at it from a 10-year-old's point of view, you'd think it'd be a little less rambling because of the whole
You wanna
short
keep their
attention
attention,
span thing.
Well, yeah, no.
SpongeBob.
When I watched it when I was younger, like I was like, I don't
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Then
I watched
it
this
when
when
I'm
I
older.
was
I'm like,
younger
I love
too.
it. Yeah.
And I didn't get anything from it. Like I do not remember watching it as a kid, but I'm pretty sure that I have.
So we're gonna wrap this shit up, right?
Yeah.
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 So Ben,
Yeah.
what are your movies?
Why are you
Yeah,
being so
Ben.
hostile about it? I
Ben.
don't know
Ben,
my
what
movie.
are your
All right, so
movies?
all right.
Next week, what are we
So next week,
doing?
We're gonna be watching The Lobster.
The Lobster.
Oh,
Ooh,
I've heard
okay.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good
Have you
little
Excited
seen
about
that?
that
Have you
one.
seen the
I have not
newest?
seen that yet.
Have you seen the newest movie by that same director? Called,
Killing
like,
of a Sacred
Killing of
Deer.
a Sacred Deer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like The Lobster better, but I'll save it for the pod.
Mm.
And then the second one, I kind of wanted to do a Coen Brothers movie.
Okay.
Because I just love them. They're
Mm.
great filmmakers. And I want to do one that's maybe not as talked about.
Okay.
So I decided Inside Llewyn Davis. I don't know-
Okay.
have you heard of it?
I have not.
I have.
It's pretty. I feel like it's not. It's well received, but it's not
Yes.
as talked about in the forefront of
Yes.
their filmography.
That is.
Film Twitter has gotten their hands on it, so it's
Yep.
a little bit. But I still
Okay.
think it's a.
That's where I saw
I think
it.
it's a
That's
great
where I've
movie,
been seeing
and I
it,
think
yeah.
they're two movies that could spark good conversation.
Woo!
Okay,
All
sounds
right,
good.
that's awesome.
Tune in next week. I'm sending a tweet to Dwayne the Rock Johnson to see if he can join us as our special guest.
Hell yeah.
So
We
90%
love
chance
him.
that'll happen.
Yep, 90.
90,
Yeah.
90.
And I will resume living within my pocket dimension.
Yeah.
I
Who knows?
will-
Maybe you'll see Frank again.
Yeah,
Who
maybe.
knows?
Probably
Good
Maybe.
guess.
We're
Good
probably
guess,
just
Frank.
gonna lock him back in the closet
Yeah,
and slide cheese under the door for
yeah.
sustenance.
if you do need me for another episode, just feel free to summon me at any time. Though it might be a bit complicating considering goats are a bit pricey these days.
Yeah.
Goats.
Goats or ghosts?
Yeah. The
Ghosts.
summoning circle in the
Ghosts.
closet.
Like a farm animal.
Oh, ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you,
What?
Frank, for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
You're a great first guest.
And thank
do
you
you-
guys for listening.
Do you have the offerings ready?
My semen?
What? No.
What?
Oh, then no.
Wait,
I'll put my bag. I'll put my
What?
bag of
Oh.
semen away then.
The
Gross.
offerings.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't know how hard it was to get a gallon of lamb's blood.
Oh, so you do have the offerings.
Yeah.
Cool. Right
God
on.
damn it!
Sorry.
I got the wrong text message, huh?
Yeah. Just a bit.
All right.
All right.
I'll put my semen
All
back
right.
in then.
You guys
All
ready? Ready for our theme song?
Can we do the-
What?
Now,
what's the
Frank
theme song?
hasn't listened to our podcast, so he doesn't know what the theme
You
song
guys
is.
never sent me
so
the
we're gonna
link.
have him start us off.
Start us off.
Very good.
Thank you.